Hey everyone, welcome back to yet another video. Today we will be doing my reactions to week 3 of the NFL season. This was a little bit of a crazier week. There was a bunch of blocked field goals. But yeah, let's get into every game. First up, we have this Thursday night football matchup in between the Dolphins and the Bills, which the Bills won 31-21. The Dolphins, actually did a little bit better than what I expected point-wise, especially when I consider how the offense truly did. The running game, yeah, I can see why the running game, but it's more so the passing stats that was like, 22 over 34 is not that bad. The 4.3 per average, that's the tricky part on why I don't really see how the Dolphins got to 21 points, especially when the Bills did not even turn over the ball once during this game. So that's a little bit on the confusing part of the side, and on the confusing side of things. The Bills, meanwhile, they continue to be a pretty good offense. I do kind of worry about the defense a little bit, considering they let the Dolphins get to 21 in this week, but at the end of the day, you think the Bills are a very good team. They should be able to win games. I'm just shocked that the Dolphins was able to score 21 points on the Bills, honestly. That's like my main thing. Next up, we have the Green Bay Packers losing to the Cleveland Browns 13-10. Green Bay, what happened? I could probably tell you what. The one game did not play well. And Cleveland defense absolutely stopped their one game. And the thing is, even before this game, Josh Jacobs hasn't been the best this year, actually. So I do worry about them in the future. Jordan Love did not particularly play well, only getting 183 yards in the top 25 attempts. Okay, that part may be like more on the average side, but only one touchdown, one interception. That's not okay. And Green Bay almost had this game, considering it was 10-0 entering the fourth quarter, and they had a blocked field goal at near the end of the fourth quarter there. So I do kind of worry about the Packers after these past 2 weeks. It arises the questions that I had for them in preseason on how well they would actually do this season. Because this type of performance is the reason why I'm not super high on Jordan Love. Maybe I was about the past 2 weeks, based on how the Packers has been doing overall. But this game just brings up those questions again on why do I think that they're not that good. This type of game is the reason why. Meanwhile, for the Browns, one game in defense. That was essentially their strategy, their formula to win this game. Because their passing offense just absolutely did not go well for them. David Njoku did all right, but Jerry Jeudy had 1 of 5 for 17 yards, and that's supposed to be your leading wide receiver. That's the kind of thing why I worry about the pass offense. Jerry Jeudy is your number one. Yeah, he can only muster up 17 yards and 5 targets. Especially when you can only get to 3.9 in average. That is actually really bad. I don't think the Browns are that great of a team. They'll probably pick up some wins based on their defense and the run game, but They absolutely will not make the playoffs. I can almost guarantee you that. Next up, we have the Indianapolis Colts winning 41-20 against the Tennessee Titans. Yeah, this is the type of score that I thought this game would have been. Maybe a little bit lower than the Titans, but this is about the score that I expected. Okay, maybe a little lower in case the Texas defense is good. Anyways, for the Colts, they just keep rolling on offense. They have one of the best offenses in the league right now. Daniel Jones going 18 of 25 for 228 yards with a 9.1 average. Yes, he only did one touchdown, but he absolutely did well in this game. And speak of the rushing game, in having a 4.9 average, 3 touchdowns by Taylor, and they actually was able to have more touchdowns than what I thought they would have had this game as well. They also had a defensive touchdown actually as well. I didn't remember that part. Having 5 touchdowns and 2 field goals for that 41 points. Meanwhile, for the Titans, yeah, I kind of expected them to struggle again this game. Cam Ward hasn't been the best QB so far. He is a rookie, so he can get better. But right now, he is going to have those curves. His 5.8 average isn't that great, but again, rookie quarterback. And I definitely don't really like the Titans running game as much. But yeah, there's not really much else to say with this game. I kind of expected this kind of result, with the Colts having the outright win. And yeah. Next up, we have the Minnesota Vikings winning 48-10 against the Cincinnati Bengals. I expected this game to be a lot closer than it was. I'm not going to lie, I did. For the Bengals, 5.2 with 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. Yeah, that's not good. Even Brett Ripien had a snap, having a sack. The rushing game, still not really that great. Jace Brown had 10 carries for only 3 yards. And I thought this guy was going to be pretty good this year. Apparently not. Granted that for the passing game, Joe Burrow is out, but at the same time, people thought that Jake Browning was going to do good after 2 years ago. On the Viking side of things, what can I even say at this point with Wentz? Because Wentz is better than JJ McCarthy. I knew that was probably going to be the case. I did not expect this type of performance. With 173 yards and 20 attempts for 2 touchdowns. But even more so, Minnesota's rushing game absolutely did their work. With Jordan Mason having 16 carries for 116 yards. And 2 touchdowns. And their defense really did the Bengals dirty. But yeah, this game absolutely was a blowout. I'm expecting there to be in QB competition in Minnesota now. After this game, if JJ McCarthy is still like the clear favorite to return when he's back, there's going to be a problem. Meanwhile, for Cincinnati, this is just going to be 3 months of possibly torture for them. Yeah, there's really not much else to say than that. Next up, we have the Steelers winning 21-14. The Steelers. not too great, actually. I thought the Patriots were going to win. The Patriots actually did look better. And the Patriots just had some key mistakes in the red zone. And that basically delivered the outcome of the game. For the Steelers, Aaron Rodgers didn't play particularly great. He did have 139 yards in 23 attempts, only getting 6 average. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Only averaging 2.5 of 1. That's not necessarily great at all. I don't think that would usually put up 21 points. Meanwhile, for the Patriots, 7.2 average, 2-1 as well. Their running game did do better, like I expected in their running game to do. However, just the fumbles absolutely cost them this game. I feel like the Steelers would have had more turnovers heading into this week. Nope, it was the Patriots that had more turnovers. And also, their offense just didn't do as well as I thought overall. Because I thought this was going to be an offensive shootout. Considering how the defenses played the weeks before, but nope. Both these teams, I think, are troublesome going into the future. The Steelers, they came out of this one, but how many are you going to come out of like this? Especially with the turnovers the Patriots had in the red zone. I don't think the Patriots is going to do that many turnovers every single game. However, I do worry for the future if at least some of the turnovers keeps happening. But yeah, the Patriots just sold. Next up, we have the Eagles winning against the Rams 33-26. For the Rams, Stafford didn't play particularly too great in this game. Only 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. The run game did do pretty well, though. I will give them that. And Kyren Williams had 4.7 average himself. And then Blake Corum did absolutely great within his ones. I do think the Eagles' defense is coming back a little bit. And so we could see a little bit of the Eagles actually playing better again. And the offense, I feel like the offense hasn't particularly been too great throughout the season either. And this game kind of shows that, especially more in the run game. Saquon Barkley had 18 carries with only 46 yards. That's not the Saquon I know from last year. But yeah, Jalen Hurts did all right himself, having 226 yards and 3 touchdowns. And the Rams actually should have won this game. And also, I'm mad at the Eagles for losing me my spread pick. Since they literally got a touchdown with that blocked field goal. Come on, Eagles. You couldn't have just blocked it and let me have the spread pot still? Whatever. Anyways. Yeah, the Rams was about to win. Josh McCarthy was pretty good today, even though that 4-6, considering one of them was, both of them was blocked, I believe. Now let me double check on that. Yeah, both blocked. So, Josh McCarthy was perfect today, considering those blocks. And there's really not much that I have to say. The Eagles just is not that good. And should have lost this game. Next up, we have a game where the Buccaneers won close 29-27. The Jets got 21 points in the fourth quarter. They almost pulled the Chicago Bears. The Bucs almost pulled the Chicago Bears in of week 1. Like, how? The Jets overall did not play that well either, with Tyler Taylor getting 197 off of 36 attempts, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Meanwhile, Mayfield actually played well in this game, considering bad defense, as compared to the previous 2 opponents the Bucs played, with 233 yards. It's more so the Buccaneers rushing that did not do that well, actually. Bucky Irving only has 66 yards off of 25 carries. I do worry about the Buccaneers if they're going to even be close this game. The Jets may pull away some wins if they keep playing like this, but the Bucs should not have made it this close. Yes, it was a blocked field goal that got the Jets the last touchdown, but the Buccaneers had to win off of Chase McLaughlin. Is that really what you want to win by in the future? Considering this is his first week in being an actually good kicker and making all of his kicks? I don't think so. But yeah, this one was an insane way. Well, McLaughlin does have one off, but because of the blocked kick. But anyways, this was a actually insane game that ended up coming down to the wire after it should not have been. Next up, we have the Washington Commanders winning against the Las Vegas Raiders 41-24. This game I actually did not expect it to be this high scoring, but the overall result to be about similar. Geno Smith, he actually played really well. 19 of 29 for 289 yards. That is actually really good with 3 touchdowns. Ashton Gianti had 3.7 yards in his average, which I don't know. He has not really been playing that good this year so far. And having 3.7 here, it's also kind of worrisome to me. Marcus Mariota doing his part as a backup with 15 of 21 for 207 yards, with only 1 touchdown in there. However, the rushing game, that absolutely did his part. Mariota rushed it in himself one time, but Jeremy here, Jeremy did 4 carries for 78 yards and a touchdown. He absolutely did his part. And then Kowalski Miller did 8 carries for 26 yards himself. Not really that great, but I feel like we might see McNichols pretty soon. Being up there and towards the lead back after this type of game. Considering he did have 160-yarder, but even then, he only had a 6 yards average otherwise. So he did do pretty good this game. And yeah, there's not really much else to say. Next up, we have the Falcons losing 30-0 against the Panthers. what? This game I did not expect at all. And Penix playing horribly. Having 4.8 average, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Bijan at least did his part, but how could he have rushed this much without by being down so much? Kirk Cousins actually even played a bit, and he honestly didn't do as well yard-wise. So the best QB of the day actually was Blythe. It actually was. And Blythe getting 16 of 24 and without a touchdown or interception. And Chuba Hubbard did pretty good rushing wise. But yeah, I'm just shocked actually, because the Panthers, I thought the Falcons was like that good of a defense, but apparently not. That just raises the questions for the Buccaneers even more as well with that week 1 matchup. And even more so for the Vikings, because I thought the Atlanta defense was a part that caused J.J. McCarthy to not play that well. Apparently, J.J. McCarthy actually just stuck. But after this game, you kind of just have to think that the Falcons' defense is not that great. The Panthers, I honestly don't really know what to take away from this game, actually, because this is such a wild result that I'm more on the speechless side right now, actually. But yeah, I'm just speechless. Next up, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars winning 17-10 against the Houston Texans. I honestly thought the Texans defense was better than the Jaguars defense. I guess not. Now, Houston did do better rushing, 4.6 average compared to 3.6 average that the Jaguars had. That was actually surprising to me as well, because I thought, and Travis Etienne and Bashal Dutton would have actually done better. Anyways, the more surprising part for me is that Stroud had 2 interceptions against the Jaguars defense. Meanwhile, Trevor Lawrence only having 1. Lawrence actually played better overall. Wait, hold on. Literally everything I said about this game and that I would have said about this game beforehand was directly the opposite. Trevor Lawrence, I thought would have had probably the better completion percentage. No, that was CJ Stroud. I thought CJ Stroud would have had more yards per reception. That was Lawrence. What is going on? This one was also opposite of just what I thought. Generally, every little thing about the offenses in this matchup just went the opposite. I don't know, man. That's just crazy, actually. Anyways, yeah, that's not really much to say after that, actually, because after really realizing that, but I'm just speechless as well with this one. I know I was just speechless for the Falcons-Panthers one, but which one am I even more speechless of? Honestly, at least this one was at least closer to what I would have expected. At least it was closer to what I would have expected, considering, I saw the vision that the Jaguars could have won. But now it's each little thing being different. I did pick in Houston, but I saw the possibility of Jaguars winning. This one was one of my closer ones. But yeah, just every little thing went differently than what I thought. Next up, we have the Chargers winning 23-20 against the Denver Broncos. I figured it actually would be around this result actually for this game. This one actually was one of the more expected results that happened for me. Justin Herbert getting 6.4 yards per average, 300 as well. This is the second game he had that this year, with 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The rushing game actually was better for Marion Hampton. Najee Harris, he did have a season-ending injury this time, so hopefully he comes back next season all good to go. But it's going to be on Marion Hampton's role now again. For the Broncos, yeah, this game was a lot more on the rushing side, even for J.K. Dobbins. RJ Harvey has yet to really have that much of a say in this one game, actually. But Knicks didn't do all too well either. Overall, this actually was about what I expected, with the Broncos defense doing a little bit to the Chargers and the Chargers defense doing a bit to the Broncos. I didn't expect the high-scoring game at all. I expected it to be close, at least compared to the past 2 games that I did. This one is nice. But, yeah. Next up, we have the Seattle Seahawks winning 44-13 against the New Orleans Saints. I expected it to be pretty close, actually, since I wasn't high on the Seahawks. I guess I have to be higher on them now after this game. This is the first time the Saints wasn't even, competitive. And the Seahawks defense just did everything they could. And this game was actually the offense is doing well as well. Sam Darnold is actually him. I thought he was going to have a bit of a down season, but no, he's not actually. The Saints is a bit expected. Tyler Shuck did end up having some snaps, so he might end up starting sooner rather than later here. But Sam Darnold, man, shout out to him actually, because 218 yards with 2 touchdowns off of only 18 attempts. That's actually crazy. Kenneth Walker, this is even more so why I thought the Seahawks was going to have a down season, because they can't really depend on the rushing game. With only 2.6 average, yeah, that's probably the case. Is on why I was down on them. I don't think they would have this type of offensive day again, especially 12.1 average for Sam Darnold, but I'll be a little bit higher on them now. I don't expect them to be absolutely great, though. I won't expect, absolutely great, though, especially with Kenneth Walker not being that good of a running back. But let's just say I'm being proved wrong right now with the Seahawks. Next up, we have the Chicago Bears actually winning for once, 31-14 against the Cowboys. Honestly, I feel like most of the interceptions that Dallas had was purely based on just mistakes. Because what do you mean the Bears got 4 turnovers after getting a 52-pointer and giving up 52 points to the Lions? What? And Prescott didn't play all too well. Yardage-wise, he did pretty good at completion percentage, which that part was expected, but he actually didn't get that many yards for the completion. But you know what? there we go with the offense. Granted, it is against the Cowboys defense, which Matt Eberflus, man, he actually made the Bears look good this time. The Bears offense. Now the rushing game has some worries. Like I did expect the rushing game to not be quite as good this year, but Caleb Williams did absolutely great this game, and if only we could possibly keep this up. But we maybe can against the Raiders next week, but after that, I'm not so sure. I am happy the Bears actually got a win, but even though it was against my picks, the Bears is usually the one team that I'll be like, okay, I could probably pick to lose, and I'd still be happy that they won. But yeah, that was insane, actually. Yeah. Next up, we have the San Francisco 49ers winning against the Arizona Cardinals 16-15. Yeah, both offenses was just not good. Kyler Murray having 159 yards off of 35 attempts. That is, I don't know, man. That's just, I'm officially off the Cardinals bandwagon. Again, of think they'll be good. They absolutely will not be good. Average of 3.8 is not good for rushing. Yeah, this Cardinals team will just not win any games. Well, they probably will at some point this season, but they're just not going to win many. San Francisco. Okay, I have to give a little bit of a break here before I would be like, okay, they're bad. Because Mac Jones is their backup. And so doing 6.9 in average with one touchdown, one interception isn't like that new for Mac Jones. If Brock Purdy was playing, it definitely would have been more of a blowout. I absolutely believe that. But because Mac Jones was playing and actually was more Mac Jones than last week, this was more of an expected result for Mac Jones, only having 16 points overall. But the 49ers just got to get healthy, man. They also lost Nick Bosa for a little while, so the injuries just keep continuing for the 49ers, and there's not really much else to say with this one. Next up, we have Kansas City winning 22-9 against New York Giants. I'm still not entirely sure how the Chiefs is going to play in the future. Now, I mean, immediate future, because we all know that starting week 7, Rashee Rice will be back. But at least for now, it still is worrisome for Mahomes only having 6.1 average. Xavier Worthy may be back next week, but at least for this game, it still is like worrisome. 3.8 in rushing yards. Their running backs are generally just not good. Meanwhile, for New York, Russell Wilson ended up only having 5 average. I heard that Jackson Dart is going to be starting for them now, which about time at this point, because other than that week 2 performance, he just was not good at all. And New York's rushing game did pretty well. So, with Jackson Dart starting, the Giants may actually start winning games now. You guys could probably, you should probably watch out for that, actually, because we all knew Russell Wilson was going to be, not as good. Well, I expected him to be better than how he has been so far, but I knew he wasn't going to be like that great. But the Giants has faced some tough opponents so far, other than the Cowboys. But I did expect this kind of result for the Chiefs, though, since they lost both of their previous 2 games. If the Giants would have won, I actually would have laughed, because the Chiefs being 0-3 would have been unheard of, especially with losing to the Giants, to get that third loss. But yeah, I expected the Chiefs to win. Maybe not by like 13 points after what the Giants did last week, but yeah, I expected this kind of result. And finally, we have the Detroit Lions winning 38-30 against the Ravens. I watched this game, and it was not actually this close in my mind. The Lions absolutely played in so much better than what the Ravens did last night. Jared Goff getting 20 of 28 for 202 yards and 1 touchdown. Detroit's rushing actually did excellent with 4 touchdowns and 49 and 5.9 average. Also, good job for getting doing this well to have made the Ravens defense score very low to where I won my fantasy matchup this week. Good job. Anyways, for the Ravens, Lamar didn't actually play too bad. And it was more so the fact that Derrick Henry lost a fumble that is the reason why he said it was not really that close, plus the 7 sacks. But outside of the 7 sacks, Lamar actually did not play bad at all. With 21 out of 27 and 10.7, the Lions defense just got to them. And just the Lions defense just did so much better than what the Ravens defense did. That it was like, that's the reason why I said it wasn't this close. And the score probably would indicate. And Jake Bates even missed a field goal. And when it was the end of the half, trying for a record in tying field goal. But yeah, this game just was a pretty good one. And thank you, Ravens defense, for not doing well again. For me to be 3-0 in fantasy. Anyways, that was my reactions to each week 3 game. Hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.